Hey there, my good YouTubers. It's the Fire Racer again, and I'm ready to do an rsync on my system. So I'm gonna show you how you, on a Gentoo GNU Linux box, how you actually update the system to the latest branch or tree, if you want to put it that way. And the first thing, without any haste, we will get into it. The first thing we do is we type emerge --sync. As in my previous videos that I did, I mentioned to you the emerge sync, which is the rsync. It syncs with the servers, it syncs its portage tree. So let's press enter on that, and as you can see, it's starting to pull down all of the new applications and updates and everything that's happened over the past few days since I last did the sync. It's removing old packages from the tree and adding the new versions to them. So we are waiting for, as this does its thing, as it pulls the data down and syncs it through. It's, you know, depending on conditions, you might have a very fast connection, but sometimes the server is being used quite heavy, so therefore it runs slower. Other times it runs faster. Other times it can be your connection. If you've got a slow connection, internet connection, then it can take some time to pull it down. The beauty of the GNU Linux system is that you can do this and you can still use your system at the same time. So it doesn't, not like with Windows where it, you know, puts a progress bar and then you have to shut down and it sits there telling you that for a percentage of time. This actually does it while you can use your system perfectly fine and satisfactory while it all does it. Now, as you can see, this is finished. So what we've got is the rsync has come through and it's telling us the number of files that it's pulled, that it's checked, the actual number of files that it's actually transferred, the total size in megabytes, sorry, that it's pulled down, of all those files, the actual file transferred size, and so on and so forth, match data, etc. It gives you exactly what the rsync, or the synchronization between the server and your computer, has actually done. The next thing we need to do is incredibly simple. It is, as we mentioned in my previous video on emerge, we are basically using which is to ask when it's completed its search and whatever, we want it to ask us yes or no, do we want to proceed. I want it to verbosely give me the output to what it's going to install, if there's any updates, new packages to be installed, if there's any blockages, anything that needs to be rebuilt or reinstalled, etc, etc, etc. We're telling it that we want it to update, which is the lower caps or the lowercase u. We then are going to search for new use flags, and we are also going to do a deep update. So it's going to, you know, update everything that it can find on the system, and we are not going to do a system update here. We are actually going to do the entire software tree update, which is actually world. So then we can press enter on that, and while that does that, I shall take myself a nice little refreshing drink. Oh yes, definitely some good hops in that beer I've made there. And it will basically sit here and it tells you that it's calculating dependencies, which is pretty much exactly what it is doing, but it's actually searching for all packages that you have installed on the system, and it's comparing those to the new portage tree that it's in a sense synced with. So what it's downloaded and synchronized with is what it's comparing to, and looking, oh, is this one up to date, or what's this version? Is this version compared with this? Does it need to be updated? Does it not need to be updated? What is the situation of the the version numbers? Is there any new dependencies for the new package? All sorts of different things like that. And it sits there and does that all for you. So you can sit back, relax, drink a beer while it's calculating them until it comes out with its output and tells you that this is what's going to happen. Do you want this to happen, or do you not want this to happen? So yeah, it's pretty much that simple, and literally, probably the most simplest of things to do. Sit back, relax, just watch a little icon go around and not do anything. Well, it's doing it all for you. I mean, that's what computers are for, aren't they? Computers are there as a tool so that they do most of the work for you. So you don't have to do most of the work. It will do it for you. That's what they're there for. Otherwise, why would you have one? You might as well just get your dustpan and brush out and do it all for you. Technology is there to assist us. It's not there to control us, like many of the proprietary software, but it's there to assist us, not control us. In a feed forward moment, and welcome back, my good YouTubers. So we now have an output on the screen. Again, as you can quite rightly see down here at the bottom, it's asked me, would you like to merge these packages? That is because we specified the A, as we mentioned in previous videos. It's given me a complete list, including the use flags. And it's quite important that we point that out. The use flags for the particular applications that are going to be updated. It's given me their use flags of what is enabled or what is disabled, what is being disabled, and what is in some cases being enabled. Like in this case here, LVM1 is being disabled because it has the little tiny minus sign prior to it. Why that's being disabled, I don't know. I haven't explicitly enabled that in my make.config, and I don't see why I would, because I don't use it. But this has automatically decided that that should be disabled. But logically we can see it's because this is LVM2, which is the logical volume manager. Part of what works with RAIDs and different types of volumes, particularly if you want to make your own SSHD drive, which is a hard disk drive and then cached via a solid state drive. Then this is one of the programs that's particularly required. Now this is obviously LVM version 2, and it's disabling the LVM version 1, which is perfectly reasonable. There's nothing untoward about that. And again, that's because that's been displayed to me primarily because I've stated explicitly in one of the action options the lowercase v. So this gives me the verbose output. Obviously the rest are U for update, then new use, which there actually aren't any from any of the settings that I've changed, and deep, which is to update the system or the whole world of the computer in deep. Furthermore, we can look down here, and interestingly, I'm glad this has come up. I have explicitly disabled system D. So this package here previously probably didn't have the use flag of system D to it. This time this update has, and therefore is actually showing the disabled system D, because I prefer OpenRC to system D. So you know, this again, this goes to actually in real time show you the beauty of the freedom of what you can and can't do, because there isn't actually anything that you can't do. You can enable things and disable things. Obviously if you end up with an empty hard drive with nothing on it, then your computer's not going to work. So it's not that it's impossible, it's just that, you know, that's what you want to do. And it's not going to work on those grounds. Furthermore, this doesn't bother me with the LVM version 1. Again, as we've gone through that. Now further down we have a rebuild. Now this application's not been updated, but it's been rebuilt because it's had a use flag change to not be built with the use flag MNG. Now I'm not fully certain why that is the case, but I could, if I wanted to, because I did the ask here, I could actually bunk this out and say no, then go into my make.config and actually add the use flag MNG. Now the best way of finding out what the use flag of MNG is again, Google is your friend. So if we put in Gentoo use flag MNG, hopefully we can see what the use flag actually is. And by the look of it, is to say add support for the library MNG, which is obviously an image file. Now I'd think to myself, I'd probably want that, you know. So I think, well, MNG files, there's lots of different things on the internet, I may come across that. And obviously this support is being disabled in the Linux emulation, or the emulation Linux, which is actually the 32-bit of Qt libraries. And it's called the emul-linux-x86 because it's keeping the libraries there for backward support for 32-bit. And that's what it is. Now I'm thinking that I should specify that in my make.config and you know, enable that system wide, because, well, I might need, and I have created MNG images before, so I probably want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say no here, and this is the beauty of doing the asking before it. And if I kwrite myself, use kwrite, and then go into the package, there I've already used this obviously before a while ago, so therefore it's remembered in my bash script. And I can pull up here and I can say, in fact I'm actually going to do a very quick search to see if the MNG use flag is actually enabled, and oddly enough it actually is. So I've actually got it twice, so I don't need it twice. I don't know why I need it twice. So we just have the one, and that's it. So it actually is globally enabled. That is interesting. So with it being globally enabled, it's obviously disabling itself, I suppose, for some compatibility reason, I guess, maybe. Obviously VPX, there was another one on there that was VPX. Let's have a quick look at that, see what the VPX use flag is. It doesn't really give us that much of a full-on explanation of what the VPX is here. Looks like could be a codec. when in doubt about a use flag, there is the Gentoo Linux use variable descriptions, which is a long page of virtually every single use flag that is possible to be used against any application. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little search for VPX to find out what that is. Okay, so it is to enable WebP support for GD. Yeah, okay. If you don't know what it is, then it's liable that you probably don't need it. But it looks like it's a type of, or for some kind of codec. So let's, I don't know, let's have a look. See if I've got it enabled and why it's been disabled. VPX. Well, I actually do have it enabled in here. But it's seeming to disable itself for whatever reason. The upstream seems to, or the package itself seems to have it disabled based on things that are installed. So that's fine. But we run it again, as we've checked all of that, and we've done all the bits and bobs. We can now run the update again, and it probably be okay to say continue. So after a nice feed forward, hello, welcome back my good YouTubers. After that nice feed forward, we are back to the screen of the update. Now, I didn't change any use flags or anything, you know, in my settings. So I can note that obviously the 32-bit version here is not adding support for MNG. I guess, you know, being as I'm running a 64-bit system, that the 64-bit system is perfectly adequate to handle the MNG, and it doesn't need the backward compatibility to 32-bit. Unless a problem develops, then I think that's fine. The automatic selection thing there is pretty good. Obviously the VPX is being added here, and that's obviously an update of PHP. So, you know, hey, it looks all good to go ahead. Everything else is here. We've all these are basically just updates for the all the Perl, the modules. We've got an update for Python 6 that's running here. The LVM eSelect for this is actually a module here. When we use I'll cover another video actually about eSelect, which is a Gentoo tool, or it's a tool set that we use in Gentoo to select different, you know, applications to use different libraries, such as we can select, the most common one is to select between OpenGL and the Zorg server rather than, or Xorg server, however you wish to pronounce it. And we can jump between it. We can jump between the proprietary OpenGL of a proprietary driver, whether it be NVIDIA or AMD, and the open source type GL drivers, and so on and so forth. And eSelect is the tool that allows us to switch between that. It also allows us to switch between other elements, including certain elements of GCC libraries and so on and so forth. But we'll have to cover that in another video, because I think that does deserve one of its own. This one here is actually the eSelect profile, and this is actually a profile here for Ruby, the programming language of Ruby. So yeah, that's basically what it is, but we'll leave that for another video. So I can go ahead and say yes here just by typing Y, pressing enter, and it will disappear over on its compile. another feed forward. See you soon. Welcome back, my good YouTubers. As you can see, the compile has now done, and it's installed the packages. It's compiled and installed them all. And we have the base output message. And this is the important factors, as we were talking about, that, you know, it appears. Now, it says emerge depclean. Now, there's an important factor about this. This is to clean old packages off the system. If you don't run this, then what can happen is that new programs that you install, let's say for instance you do an update 3-4 weeks from now, even months from now, and an old package remains on the system, that installation could detect the old package and fail. And then you would have to remove that package manually, which is a little bit more, how can I put it, tedious. Tedious is probably the word, because sometimes it can be very tedious. But, you know, that's basically it. So what we do after we've done a world update, we can just literally select this, copy and paste it, or if you've actually got it in your history, which I have, you could actually page up. But I'm going to, for completeness, I'm going to copy and paste it here, and then press enter. Now this is going to run the depclean action of emerge, which again, like I spoke in my last video about emerge and its functions and the power of emerge, the basics to advanced, you can go to the man page, and if you search down the list you will find depclean, where it is in here, wherever it is. Well, it tells me that there's something there for it, but it's in here, trust me, it's in here. You know, I've got to find it now, because you know, if I don't, you're going to be all thinking I'm a liar. There we are, depclean, which is actually also denoted by the lowercase c. Remember, the higher the uppercase C, the capital C, was to install an individual application or a, you know, manually uninstall an e-build or application program, etc. Well, the lowercase c defines depclean, which we've actually just run, and it's actually outputted. And it's told me there's nothing that needs to be removed, so my system is now up to date and clean. As you can see, it has completed, and you know, that's actually it. There isn't actually anything else when you update your Gentoo box. That is exactly all there is to it. Now, revdep-rebuild. This is an interesting one. We've used this for years. It was you know, we used to search for broken symlinks, and I'll start this now so you can see what it's doing. What it does, it's not a bad thing to run it. I suppose you could run it. It doesn't cause any harm to run it. But in fairness, it generally, but you know, at the moment, emerge depclean, if there's any problems after that, then it usually hits up and tells you to use the emerge and then an @ sign preserved libs, which is to recompile all programs that have been built against an old library. With revdep-rebuild, what it does is it searches for programs that have been built against old libraries and then rebuilds them. That's basically what it does. It kind of works the other way around, but they generally both do the same thing. It's not harmful to run it. It's always good to have revdep-rebuild on your system anyway, and run it, you know, after run update to make sure that your system is stable and everything is working fine. there is more things like, you know, Perl update and Python update, stuff like that, but again, I think they're for another video, so we'll cover that in another video. But as you can see, what revdep-rebuild is doing here, as you can see, that's clicking up on its percentage, it's searching all of the dynamic linked libraries basically and seeing that they're all consistent and they're all linked against each other. This helps to maintain stability and reliability in your software environment on your computer, and it does a very good job of it as far as I'm concerned. So we have that, as well as we have the everything else which has been programmed into Emerge, which generally does all this hard work for us. So another pause and we shall see what happens. I'll let this get to 100% just for completeness of the video, and then we will come back again. So another feed forward. Hey my good YouTubers, welcome back. Just a quick update. If you actually look here, the revdep-rebuild is actually picking up on a broken library. There's a symlink here that's broken. It's picked it up on 93%, and it's picked up another one, which is obviously the same part as part of the MySQL whatever. So that's picking it up, and it's going to assign the packages and rebuild the what it is, which is actually part of the Qt SQL 4. So it's going to do its Emerge automatically in the background, and it's going to rebuild that and fix it, which is kind of cool, ain't it? Yeah. Anyway, fast forward once again. See you soon. Hey there, welcome back my good YouTubers. As you can see, it has now completed. So we've rebuilt and it's recompiled the Qt SQL to fix the broken libraries and dependencies, and it basically states here pretty clearly to you that you can actually rerun revdep-rebuild to double check that, which I probably will do later. But for the sake of this video and its length or whatever, I won't bore you with the laboriousness of going over it again. But that is it. And as you can see, that whole update was done while I'm screen recording, while, you know, my system is up and running, while if it's a server, it's still up and running. There's no downtime at all regarding it. And obviously, as I say, if a service has been installed and you want to update the service, what the beauty of Linux is that you can do just that. Let's say, for instance, the etc initd, which is the initialization folder, which starts up on the init stage after the kernel, and the D stands for the daemons. If I put in ip tables, I'm just picking that randomly just to demonstrate to you that how you actually restart things on a GNU Linux system. And this is not customary to Gentoo, but you know, it's good to know. So we've got the etc initd and we got ip tables. I'll restart it. As you can see, poof, that's it. So if I had installed an iptables update and a new version had come out, all I would do is that, and what it would do would, you know, shut the old version down and restart the new version. No downtime whatsoever. And that's it. The system is up to date, running smooth, no problemos. So that's how it works. Anyway, my good YouTubers, I shall leave you to it. I hope this video has been informative, and as always, I hope it's been fun, made a smile on your face. I've had fun making it, so take it easy, and I'll catch you later.